You're thinking about moving to Panama City Beach? In this video, I'm going to dive into the computer and show you around using Google Maps. I'm going to show you around a few different areas. I'm going to teach you some of the local terms that you might want to know. And I'm also going to teach you some of the differences about the different areas on the beach. So if you stick around till the end, I'm going to show you some of the best beach spots you're going to want to hit if you're a local. So we're going to get after it right now. If it's your first time to the channel and you're looking for everything you need to know about living in Panama City Beach, or 30A, then make sure to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so that you are the first to know about the current market here in Panama City Beach. My name is Clark, and I get phone calls, texts, and emails every single day from people just like you who are looking for help on making their move to Panama City Beach. So if you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email. All the info is in the description below so that I can help you make a smooth move to Panama City Beach. Welcome to the world's most beautiful beaches. All right, so before we get started on Google Maps, I actually want to start on this version of the map because I think it does a great job of explaining what Panama City Beach looks like from an overhead view, and it's really going to help you when you're trying to get around. I wish somebody would have shown me this whenever I moved here because I think it is an absolute game changer. All right, so before we start on Google Maps, I actually want to start on this map because I think it does a great job of showing you an overhead view of what Panama City Beach looks like, and is going to help you a ton when you start figuring out how to get around. And I wish somebody would have shown me this and taught me like this when I first moved here because it helps so much. So there's a couple things that I'm going to be talking about a lot in this video. There are three main sections to Panama City Beach. The first one is the west end. The west end is down here on this end. The other part is Pier Park, which is the middle. And then anything past Pier Park on this end is the east end. Okay, so you have three main sections. You've got the west end, Pier Park, and then you have the east end. The west end is going to be the closest to 30A on the Destin side, and then the east end is the closest to Panama City, Tyndall Air Force Base, the Navy base, that kind of stuff. But the way that I like to look at the map is like a ladder. Okay, so over here on the west end to the east end, either way, if you're trying to get from one to the other, if you're going from one side to the complete other side, you're going to want to use 98. So 98 is the main highway. It runs from one end of the beach to the other. The other road that runs east to west from one end to the beach to the other is Front Beach Road, and then that turns into Thomas Drive. Okay, so those are the two main parts of the ladder, like this. And then the rungs that go up the ladder are these streets right here. They go from north to south, and they connect the sides of the ladder. So anywhere that you want to get on the beach, you're going to go either 98 or Front Beach, and then you're going to cut down these rungs to get to wherever you're trying to go. Okay, so say you're trying to get from the east end to Pier Park, you're going to come up Thomas Drive, go down 98, and then you're going to cut down one of these rungs and get to Pier Park. Okay, so it's really, really easy to do that. I just drove around for a few days and tried to figure it out whenever I moved down here, and that I would not recommend. I would recommend trying to view it from an overhead view of where you're trying to get to. Okay, so let's go to Google Maps and move on now that we have a better understanding of the map. All right, so now we are here on Google Maps, and I'm going to go through a few different things that I think that you need to know about Panama City Beach and the surrounding area. Hey, the first thing, let's go ahead and draw out what we already know. So down here on the end, you have the west end. Okay, and like we said, here's 79 going up out of Panama City Beach. This is the main north-south road that goes out of the beach. Anything to the west of 79 is going to be the west end. and then you have Pier Park in the middle, and then anything east of Pier Park is the East End, which is, we're going to circle this down here so we have a better understanding. Okay, and then we have our ladder, goes from one end to the other. If you're going to be going from one end to the other, you're most likely going to be taking 98. Front Beach tends to get pretty backed up with tourism and people going to the beach. So I try and stay off Front Beach unless I'm just going for a drive down the beach, which is always a good time. So we've got it all set up. Let's talk about some things that you're going to hear as you're around Panama City Beach. Okay, so we've got the East End, we got the West End, we got Pier Park. A few of the key locations that you're going to want to know about. Down here on the East End, right here, this is the Navy base. So if you are moving in for the military, we do have a ton of military members from the Navy base, but also from Tyndall, which is across the bridge down over in here. So we have lots and lots of military families that are in our area, and that's a great place to know. You're going to hear a lot about Navy base, over by the Navy base, stuff like that. The Navy base is not just for the Navy. That is where they train all branches for diving. So doing any kind of special operation diving, they're going to go there. They're going to get trained. That's where they do it. Another place over here on the east end you're going to want to know about is St. Andrew State Park. It's right over here, and it is one of my favorite places to go. Super cheap. I think it's like $6 or $8 per car. So you can load up your car, head on in there. It's a lot more secluded from all the tourism. There are people, but a little bit more secluded. Another place you're going to want to know is Thomas Drive. Okay, so Thomas Drive is right here. And it is a wonky looking road. So it goes north-south, okay, all the way on the east end. And then down here, you hit what's called the curve, right where Thomas Drive turns. Okay, so this is the curve, and it goes up like this, and it connects to Front Beach Road that goes along the beach. Other than that, on the east end, an important part you're going to hear a lot about is the bridge. Okay, so the bridge is the Hathaway Bridge. It's the main bridge that connects Panama City Beach to Panama City. There are 3 bridges in Panama City Beach, but this is the main one that if anyone says the bridge, this is what they're talking about. If you go over into Panama City, you're either going to say, oh yeah, I went over the bridge, or I went into town. Okay, so this is in town or over the bridge. We've talked about 98 and we've talked about 79, talked about Front Beach. A couple places on the west end that I think are important key features that you're going to want to know about. One is right here. This is Lake Powell. Another one of my favorite places to go. It's away from all the tourism. You can get out, you can do paddle boarding. There's tons of gorgeous multi-million dollar homes you can go look at. You can rent jet skis out there, take them around. Sometimes they have the inlet open right here where you can cut through and get into the Gulf, depending on the level of the lake. Another one is Laguna Beach. I'll talk a little bit more about this in a little bit, but it's right here in the middle of the west end. It is what I think is the most beautiful part of Panama City Beach. You have Thomas Donuts. You have Carousel, which is a grocery store. So you can have, while you're at the beach, if you need snacks, you need drinks, you need anything beach-wise, they're going to sell it that you can go and get. It's just a really pretty part of the beach. It's away from a lot of the tourism. There's no condos right there. So you can always go check that out, and I love it. One thing that you do need to know is how to get to the airport. So whether you have people coming to visit, or you're trying to travel, or you need to get somewhere, it's going to be important to know how to get to the airport, especially depending on the time of the year. So let's say you live on the east end, down here. The airport is right here, okay? This is the main airport you're going to be going in and out of. There is one over in Destin as well, but it's about a 2-hour drive, so this is going to be your closest major airport. From the airport, or from the east end, I would go 98, down right here. And there is a ton of traffic during tourist season, so from March till September, August. There's a lot of traffic on Back Beach right here because there's Pier Park, There's a lot of condos, there's a lot of rental houses and stuff like that right there. So lots of traffic right here. There is a trick though that I wish I would have known earlier. There is a little road that cuts back through here and gets you to 79, where you don't have to sit in all this traffic right at Pier Park. It does get really, really backed up. So you can cut through right here next to the Busy Bee, and it cuts through, it goes up to 79. Now here's where it's a little thing that people are starting to figure out. They just added a new highway to the airport. You used to have to go this way. So you used to have to go up this little road through here, and it was like a 1-lane road, and it just took a little bit. But now they added a new highway that goes straight across. It's multi-lane. The pavement is amazing. I love driving on nice pavement. So it's really nice right there. This is all starting to get developed up in here too. But you go up to this next highway and there is no one ever on it. So take this highway up to the airport. Depending on the time of the year, during tourist season, it's going to take you anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour to get to the airport, just because of traffic and depending on if they have special events like Ironman or marathons or Jeep Jam, for any number of reasons that they might have events and stuff they have at Pier Park. So you're going to want to take a little bit of time and then take that cut through behind Pier Park and get to 79. It's a little bit easier. Now, if you are going from the west end down here, it's a lot easier to get to the airport because you just hop on 98. You don't have to go past Pier Park. You just jump on 79, go up, cut across, and go into the airport. The west end, there is way less tourism, so it does seem to not get backed up nearly as much. You don't have to deal with traffic quite like that, but you're away from a lot of the entertainment, a lot of the tourism. So it's a trade-off depending on what you want, what your family wants, what you are looking for. So that's how you'll get to the airport from the west end. If you're down here, I mean, it's going to take you maybe 10 minutes to get to the airport. If you're down on this end, it's probably going to take you 15, 20 minutes depending on traffic. But it's not usually too terribly bad getting to the airport from any of there. And the same thing from the middle. Just hop on, go up 79, go over and get to the airport. All right, so like I said, I'm going to show you a few of what I think are the coolest got-to-go spots on the beach for locals. So when you do move here, this is where you're going to want to go. Depending on the day, depending on what you're wanting out of your beach trip. Let's zoom in a little bit. All right. So the first place that I would recommend if you have a family, if you don't have a family, it's a great place to go because it's just really pretty. It's nice. It's away from people. And I already talked about it a little bit, is I would go to St. Andrews State Park. The reason I would go here, they have an inlet, so a little jetty that you can go in, and it is calm. There's no waves. There's no current. There's rays that swim through there. There's lots of pretty fish. There's crabs. You can snorkel. That's where people get taught how to scuba dive. It's just a really great place to go with a family, and you don't have to really worry about stuff a ton. I mean, the deepest it gets is like 6 feet, but there's no current. There's people that are around there. So, I mean, you do need to pay attention and whatnot, but it's nice and calm, and it's really nice. If you go up over the dunes and you go on to the actual Gulf side, that is where a ton of people go surfing because the current is coming in, hitting the jetties, creating those rolling waves. They're a lot more consistent. You also get a surf report every day from Mr. Surfs, which is one of the surf shops here in Panama City Beach. So you can figure out if it's a good day to go surfing. They'll tell you a lot about the surf report there. And that's every single morning. So the next place is right here on Thomas Drive. Here's the curve. If you park right here on the curve, there is a parking lot in Newbies 2. And you can just walk right across the street. It's public parking. It's free parking. They don't tow. You can walk just straight across the street. Go to beach access 2, 2, 3, 4. Any of those beach accesses right there. There's just not a ton of people that go right there. Most people that are staying on Thomas Drive go in the middle of Thomas Drive. There's some other stuff going on there, so a lot of the tourists kind of go there. That's where everybody gathers. And then right next to it is Schooners, which is the last local beach club. So you can go there, get your drink, get food, get snacks, stuff like that. And it's about 100 yards down the beach. So it's not too far. And you have everything right at your fingertips. You don't have to worry about getting beach parking. because it's always open right there at Newbies too. A place that we have started going if you do want to be around a few more people, a great place to go is Richard Seltzer Park. It is a conservation park right here in the middle of Thomas Drive. There is a lifeguard stand. There is a police station area right there. There are showers and bathrooms and anything you're going to need for at the beach. It's all right there. Across the street, there are some restaurants. You can get cheap food, some drinks and stuff like that. The next place that I think is important for you to know about is if you have animals. So I have 3 dogs. They love the beach. They love the sand. The powdery sand doesn't hurt their paws. They never get cut up, anything like that. But if you do want to take your animals to the beach, I think it's the only dog park on the entire beach is right here at Pier Park. Okay, on the west side over here, on the west side of the pier, tons of people bring their dogs there. They can get in the water, they can go up and down the beach, and that's a place that you can take your animals and not have to worry about getting a ticket for having them on the beach. Everywhere else on the beach, you're not supposed to have your animals or your pets. Do I take my dogs to the beach during the off season from September until March? Yes, but I do run the risk of, getting a ticket. So you can take that at your own discretion. The other place that I'm going to go to is Laguna Beach. I've talked about this a little bit. But you've got Thomas Donuts, you've got Carousel, there are no condos. It's mostly locals that live down there. The water just seems to be nicer on the west end. Down here on the east end, it gets a little bit muddy. Some seaweed can wash up. I don't know what happens with the current, but that's kind of where it ends up. Down here on the end, on the west end, the water just seems prettier for some reason. So we like to go down there, Carousel to get your drinks, get your food, get your snacks, anything you're gonna need for the beach. So that's a good place to go. There's also usually parking you can get pretty easily. You don't have to worry about that. And then the last place I want to tell you about is the inlet. So down here, this is Lake Powell. But right here is the inlet. And it's right on the other side of Carillon Village and Pinnacle Port. There are 2 ways that you can get there. Well, I'll say 3. One is if you're staying in Carillon or at Pinnacle Port, you have access into there. Another way is you can walk from Front Beach and then walk all the way down the beach, which I would not recommend, but you could if you wanted to. The way I would recommend doing it is you go over the bridge right here into Inlet Beach, and there is Camp Helen St. Park where you can park your car and walk through the state park a couple hundred yards. They've made a new walkway, so it's nice and easy to get to. And it's just really cool to see, honestly. You'll see some brackish water, which is the mix of salt and fresh water, which is really, really cool. And you can hang out there, see water. You can go on the inlet side in Lake Powell and, current. Yeah, you can take your boat in there. Sometimes they have it opened up so you can get into the Gulf and go out into the Gulf, which is cool. Sometimes they have it closed off depending on the level of the lake. But those are going to be my top 6 areas to go to the beach for locals. So it was great for you to watch this video, and I will see you in the next one.